This is Louise for MMA Crazy, and I'm here with Alan Jouban, who co-headlines UFC London against Gunnar Nelson. So, how have you been finding your time so far here in London?
Very well, actually. The first time here for me and the majority of my team. So, yeah, we've been kind of cutting weight by doing the tourist thing, man. Walking 5 miles a day, checking out the sights and everything. But it's been great. Nice weather, lots of stuff to see, and slowly just kind of flipping the switch as we get near fight date.
So what did you think about coming to Europe and especially coming to London for this event?
I mean, honestly, I like to fight close to home. It's easier. It's just easier. It's less travel. It's less expenses. You know, taking four coaches all the way to London, you know, a lot of that is coming out of our pocket. So it's more of an expense. It's more travel. It's more time away from all of our families. But because of the matchup that I was getting, because of the co-main event, and I had never been to London, it made sense. It made sense to come. But if they were going to ask me to come to London and fight somebody without a name, without a ranking on the prelims, I might have turned it down.
So with all that travelling, obviously the cost and the expense as well, how have you been adjusting, especially to the time difference here?
Yeah, it's taken a couple days. I'm glad that we came a little bit earlier than normal. Normally, a typical UFC fight week, we arrive on a Tuesday. We left LA, we left the States on a Sunday. To get here, you know, it put us here on a Monday, so it pretty much put us here a day earlier. But it was worth it. The travel, it takes its toll on you, especially when you're at this level of training. You know your body very well, and then you're used to getting your 8 hours of sleep. You're used to eating at a certain time and training at a certain time, and you know how to make your body perform at 100%. When you change all of that and adjust it, and you're traveling 10, 13 hours, putting in a new time zone, obviously it takes a couple of days to acclimate, to get back to firing on all cylinders. So last night I had probably my best workout since I've been here. Today will probably be 100% back into the flow of things. So everything's coming together perfectly.
And how does that play into the weight cut as well? Do you have to cut much weight?
My weight's good. My weight cut's fine. I've never had an issue with weight cut. I've never missed weight in my life. And I'm not a guy that lets myself get out of shape. Everybody has different body types, and I think that plays into it. But for my body type, I'm a guy that I don't really exceed 20 pounds more than that I fight. You know, I fight at 170. I don't really walk around heavier than 190-ish. So I'm always within reason to make weight on short notice.
And like you said, you wouldn't have taken this unless it was a ranked opponent. He's ranked number 9. So what did you think when they put forward Gunnar Nelson to you? I
was ecstatic, man. It was it made me feel like I was finally getting rewarded. Finally, it justified what I'd been doing. You know, I got tired of telling people my resume, but I felt like it was the only thing to remind them. You know, like, yeah, you know, I didn't lose a single fight last year. You know, I've won 5 out of my last 6. You know, I've got 3 fight of the night bonus. Like, I kept reminding people because every time I thought I was climbing the ladder, I was fighting another guy. I was fighting sideways, and I got to the point where, look, I'm not going to keep fighting whoever, winning my fights and fighting sideways. I want to fight up. I want to climb. Like any career that you take in life, you want to work hard and you want to see the achievements. You want to climb. You want to build. You want to know that there's more opportunity to build in that profession. And the same thing with fighting. The same thing with UFC. You want to work your way up the ladder. You want to make more money. You want to build your name. You want to see your name on the fight, your face on the fight poster. You know, and those were little small goals I kept setting for myself. After the end of last year, I had a phenomenal year, going undefeated. I knew that this next fight, it needed to be something like that. It needed to be a big name, a ranking, a co-main event, a main event, something along those lines. So when I got the news it was Gunnar, I was asking for a top 15. They gave me a number 9, so I was ecstatic with everything. And yeah, it was rewarding. It was a rewarding feeling, knowing that I'm finally getting paid back for the work that I put in.
So what do you think of Gunnar as an opponent for you? Obviously, he's won most of his wins by submission. So how do you see your styles matching up? Do you see this as a striker versus grappler match?
That's an easy way to label it. And at the end of the day, it is probably the truest fashion in the sense of we're both well-rounded, but we both have our go-tos. He's going to strike in order to get in a favorable position, which is submission. I'm going to strike to get in a favorable position, which is to try to knock you out. But the fight starts on the feet, and we're both very well accomplished on the feet. If it goes to the ground, we're both very well accomplished on the ground as well. We both have our strong suits, obviously, but yeah, he knows in the back of his head, no matter what I say or what he says, he knows he wants to be on top on the ground. And no matter what I say as well, I want to be just at my range, punching him and kicking him in the face.
So has submission defense played a big part in your role in during camp? And talk a little bit about kind of how you've been preparing for Gunnar.
Yeah, absolutely. As far as training camp, I don't want to say I brought anyone specifically in to mimic Gunnar, but I just took elements of his game and I broke that down. And when it came to pad work and the way that I struck, the way that we did pad work mimicked Gunnar. When it came to submission defense, I brought in a couple black belts, guys like Kevin Casey, Jared Carlson from 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu, and we worked a lot of rear naked choke defense, which is obviously one of Gunnar's higher percentages. A lot of wrestling defense with Kenny Johnson. And then when it came to the feet, people aren't really giving Gunnar the credit on the feet because he doesn't finish the fights on the feet, but he gets the finishes starting from the feet. He knocks people down, he pressures you, he blitzes you to take you down. So I brought in, I went and met up with the Machida brothers, Shinzo, Lyoto, did a lot of work in sparring with those guys, and it helped me tremendously. They have a different style. They're not a Muay Thai stylish strikers. They're not a stand in the pocket and throw a 1-2 kick. They're blitzing, they're in and out. They want to be at their range, and they throw a lot of feints. And it really helped me, man. It really allowed me to check everything off of the list that I needed to do to prepare for this fight.
So finally, how do you see the fight unfolding, and what would it mean to you to get a win over a top 9 ranked opponent?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's everything. This is my opportunity. This is where I get a big win. My goal is to finish Gunnar as well. Not an easy task, but I'm more than capable of it, and I see the openings. I see where I could do it. My goal is to put Gunnar away, and then from there, this fight puts me in those title talks. Right now, the welterweight division is finally changing. It's been kind of stagnant for a while. A lot of the same names, a lot of guys 2 and 3 losses in a row, and they stayed in the top 15. And it was frustrating to guys like me who have been on 3-fight win streaks and not getting an opportunity. Finally, I'm getting an opportunity. A win, a finish over Gunnar puts me right in there in that top 10. It puts me in the new conversation of guys coming up. You have guys like Stephen Thompson who just lost twice, or a draw and a loss, but he lost. He's not going to be getting a title shot anytime soon as long as Tyron has the belt. Other guys have already contended for the belt. Carlos Condens, is guys like Damian Maia, going to be fighting Jorge Masvidal. But what I'm getting at is a win right here puts me one fight away from being that guy fighting for the belt, and that's exactly what I want.